hello, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the January 11th, 2020 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this balmy Saturday. Actually, it was overcast for much of the day, but I just got back from a dinner celebrating my mother's 84th birthday. We went to a local restaurant in Elmsford, New York. Johnny G is back to spin original vinyl 45s out of my collection. We opened up tonight with an instrumental by the Sugar Canes. It came out on Sid Nathan's King label. It's called Sioux Rock, as in Sioux Indians. This one there from November 1958. They had an earlier release on the Federal label. It featured the tenor sax of Ray Felder, who wrote the tune, and prior to this, he was a member of Bill Doggett's Combo. This one from November 58, the Sugar Canes on King with Sioux Rock. Well, let's start it off here with the vocal portion, as we started off with a flip side from last week. Have a number of flips for tonight's show, and last week I featured a group called the Magic Tones, as requested by listener Nat Papagallo, listening down in Naples, Florida. The song was called How Can You Treat Me This Way, a great tune. So let's give a spin to the flip side. It's a jump. It's with Joe Reed on lead. This one from October 53 on King, the Magic Tones with Cool Cool Baby.
She went to the city to make a little kitty. She decided to stay when she found out how the money came a-rolling her way. Now she's a cool, cool baby from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's a cool, cool baby from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's a cool, cool baby that a fool can plainly see. Now she showed everybody how a small town girl made good.
Oh, how that gal made good.
She showed everybody how a small town girl made good.
Oh, how that gal made good.
Now she's got a line that's really hard to beat. She met her sugar daddy and she swept him off his feet. Cause she's a cool baby from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's a cool, cool baby that a fool can plainly see. She owns a big home down on the main avenue.
She got the loot and don't know what to do.
Now she rides around in a Cadillac, diamonds on her fingers and mink on her back. She's a cool baby from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
She's a cool, cool baby that a fool can plainly see.
And a fool plainly see.
Says she's a cool, cool baby.
Cool baby.
Don't need baby.
Don't need
cool, 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 cool baby. Cool, cool baby. She's a cool, cool baby from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's a cool jump from October 1953. They're called the Magic Tones. The Magic Tones, Sid Nathan's King record label. Joe Reed on lead, song entitled Cool Cool Baby. Great two-sided 45. This group out of the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, the second of two on King Records. Not easy to get those on 45. You can find them on 78, but hard to get them on the 45. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we head to Philadelphia, PA for this next group. They are called the Hideaways. They had this was their debut single on the MGM label, and I like this song a lot. And but don't know who the lead is. And this is the same group that recorded Can't Help Loving That Girl of Mine on the Ronnie label, really an ultra-rare 45 that I am still looking for. Let's give a spin to this MGM 45, recorded in late 1954, but it was released in February 1955. These are the Hideaways on the MGM record label, and their tune is called Cherie.
I want you all my life, not for just one day or 1 hour, but all my life. Do you hear? Cherie, how I love you so. Cherie, my Cherie, Cherie, oh Cherie, I love you, dear. Won't you please stay here and be my Cherie, be my Cherie. I want you all my life. Won't you please be my wife? Yes, till then I'll go on praying for you. Oh, Cherie, I adore. Cherie, oh, Cherie, I love you, girl. You're the best girl in the world. You are my Cherie, my Cherie.
I like that tune. I do. Those are the Hideaways, February 1955. It's on the MGM record label. That's a big label, but unfortunately that was not a big hit for them. That's Cherie. Have that on that's a nice mint stock copy. I have a promo too. I need my head examined. Not in great shape. The other promo was my first copy. It's kind of EG, but I love that tune, the Hideaways. I wish I had that Ronnie 45. I know that's a very expensive record. I know a couple of the collectors that do have it, but they had to sell their lungs to get it. They really did. It was an expensive record for them. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We count down the music chronologically on the 50s and early 60s edition. And here's a request for a listener, Richard Fox, listening in Madison, Indiana. I think that's where you are, Richard, and he is a Bengal fan like I am, or maybe an ex-Bengal fan, because he was from the state of Ohio, and not many Bengal fans here in the New York state, but I still am. But anyway, this is a request for Richard. He requested the Hipsters, a group out of Cleveland, Ohio. I like both sides of this 45, as a matter of fact. One side's a great Christmas tune. It's called Rockin' and Rollin' with Santa Claus, but Rich requested the flip. And this is on the Ronell label. It features Joe Williams on lead. Let's go back to November 1955. These are the Hipsters on Ronell with I Had to Let You Go.
Darling, oh darling. I thought it was gonna rain. The moon came out in the night. The stars were peeping bright. Oh, girls, such a lovely night for romance. You said you love me. I believe you do. Now I found out that you were so untrue. Darling, oh darling, I have to let you go. I have to let you go.
As by request for Richard Fox, he's in our YouTube chat room. You can go to YouTube. If you have an account with YouTube, you can sign into the chat room. Lots of collectors in there and people that like the music for sure. But those are the Hipsters out of Cleveland, Ohio, November 1955. It's on the Ron L record label. It's called I Had to Let You Go. Ron L Records is out of Chicago, Illinois. That's the first of two for them. Now, the second one is good too. It's called I Gotta Sing the Blues. It's harder to get than this Ron L release. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue now. We stay in 1955 with an ultra rare 45 requested by Nat Papagallo. Where are you, Nat? Are you out eating again? Down in Florida. And how did you know about this ultra rare 45? As a matter of fact, it's on Frank Guida's F&D record label, EF-N-EE label. Now, of course, Frank Guida would have success in the early 1960s with his LeGrand label. I'm sure you know all those hits by Gary U.S. Bonds, but originally this was his first label. It's out of Norfolk, Virginia. He requested the Sheiks. Now, the lead singer on this is Kenneth Kimball. Let's go back to January 1955 by request for Nat. The Sheiks on F&D. It's called Give Me Another Chance.
Last night I realized anymore. What have you done to make me feel so sad? I dream, darling, I dream of you. What have you done to make me dream this way? Well, you know I love you, and you know I always will. Well, I place no one above you, and darling, I never will. Love you, darling, until the day I die. So won't you come back and give me another chance? I love you, darling, until the day I die. So won't you come back and give me another chance? Another chance. And give me another chance.
That is, it's a rare record, a very rare 45 going out to Nat Papagallo, January 1955. They're called the Sheiks. It's on the F&D, I said EE, it's DE, F&D record label. It's called Give Me Another Chance. And this song was also covered in the early 1960s by two other LeGrand artists. Tommy Facenda did it, and Gary U.S. Bonds also recorded this one. Now, if you look at the writer credit on this, I'll throw it to you guys also in the YouTube chat. The writer credit is Adiug, Adiug, which is actually Guida spelled backwards, and this record, I can't believe how I got this record. I won this record about 8 or 9 years ago, maybe longer, on eBay. I bought it from somebody in Norfolk, Virginia. He was going to donate it to the local library there. He had I have a newspaper clipping from 1955 that mentioned all the group members and about the group and what they were doing and where they were performing. And I'm not going to say I got it for three figures. It was close. It was much more than, I was going to say much more than that, but I really, relatively speaking, to get this record in this great condition compared to the other guys I know that have it, their records are whipped on this 45. I'm really lucky to have this record. But anyway, Nat, I got to congratulate you for requesting that rare 45. Oh, there you are. There he is, Nat. You missed you'll have to go back on the archive. That's a good thing about the Vinyltreasure Show. Anyway, let's Johnny G stop babbling here. Got a lot of requests tonight. And some old requests. And here's an old request for Bopper Boy Warren Russell, listening over in Oregon. He requested Billy Nelson on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy label. And Billy Nelson's being backed up by the Five Wings. They were from Harlem, New York. And Billy Nelson was from Cincinnati, Ohio. And he wrote this song, which includes Mickey Baker on guitar and Sam the Man Taylor on sax. So this is going out to Bopper Boy Warren, December 1955, Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label, Billy Nelson with the Five Wings. It's called Pack Shack and Stack Your Blues Away.
Well, my baby left me and I don't know what to do. Yes, my baby left me and I don't know what to do. 'Cause she left me blue, broke and lonely too. Well, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Yes, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Well, I'm hoping and praying she will come back home someday. Yes, she left me this morning standing in the hallway crying. Yes, she left me this morning standing in the hallway crying. If she don't come back, I'll be in the doghouse dying. Well, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Yes, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Well, I'm hoping and praying she will come back home someday. Baby, please come home to me. Yes, please come back, baby, please come home to me. Please come back, baby, and ease this misery. Well, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Yes, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Well, I'm hoping and praying she will come back home someday. Yes, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Yes, I'm gonna pack, shack and stack my blues away. Well, I'm hoping and praying she will come back home someday.
Filling an old request for Warren Russell in our YouTube chat room. Those are Billy Nelson with the Five Wings. Came out on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records, December 1955. It's called PAC Shack and Stack Your Blues Away. We try to do that every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies as we continue here. And here is one for Richard Fox, as this group first recorded as the Starlings on the Josie and the Dawn record label, but they decided to change their name to the Twilighters. And with the help of WINS disc jockey Alan Freed, they signed with MGM Records. The result was two releases. Now, Rich requested their first. It features Larry Gales on lead. Let's go to July of 1955, the Twilighters on MGM. This is a great tune. It's a song entitled Little Did I Dream.
How much you meant to my heart. I should have known from the start, but little did I dream. Oh, little did I dream my arms would ever be lonely. My lips would long for you only. But little did I dream, I merely played a game. It really was a shame, and I know now I was so wrong. 'Cause now you made me cry the way I made you cry all along. So all along, oh darling, little did I dream someday the tables would turn. Little did I dream, my dear, it took a heartache to learn. But little did I dream. It took a heartache to learn, dear, but little did I dream. Little did I dream.
As by request for Richard Fox, that's a great tune there for the Twilighters. Larry Gales on lead for that one, July 1956. That's the first of two they did on the MGM record label. Little Did I Dream is the name of that one. Their second release is good too. It's called Half Angel, but that features Bill Lindsay on lead on that side. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And we stay with the request, this time for 15-year-old Braden McCallow, who is at the movies now. He just texted me. He's at the movies, but he will tune in when he gets back and on the archive, of course. He watches on the archive, but he's from Minnesota. He's a big 78 collector, and he requested the Pharaohs on Leon Renee's Class label. Says on the label featuring Ricky, and Ricky is really Richard Berry. So this one's going out to Braden. This one from September 1956. We move into 56. The Pharaohs on the Class label. It's called Teenager's Love Song.
Dolo,
do 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 lo do lo do 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 lo
Chaya, cha cha chaya chaya, cha cha chaya chaya, cha cha chaya chaya, cha cha. Let's fall in love. Why shouldn't we fall in love with the moon up above, shining bright? Stars in your eyes makes me realize it. You idolize, let's fall in love. We were meant for each other, darling. It's true, true, true. I don't want no other, darling, but you. I'll never, never let you go, because I love you so. Let's fall in love. We were meant for each other, darling, it's true, 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 true. I don't want no other, darling, but you. Never let you go, because I love you so. Let's fall in love.
Out of Los Angeles, California, those are the Pharaohs. The Pharaohs with Richard Berry on lead. He changes his voice from high to low on that. Pretty interesting, but those are the Pharaohs. September 1956, going out to Braden McCallow, and a song entitled Teenager's Love Song. Now, Braden, do you have that on a 78? As I mentioned, Braden's into 78s. A very cool collection from what I can see. He's got a really rare 78 by the Premiers on Gone. It's Valerie, but he's got it with the rare flip. Is It a Dream? Really rare record. Even to have it on 45, but 78 too. Amazing, Braden. You should be impressed with that. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now, part of the fun of being a record collector, especially when you are first starting out, is going out to flea markets and garage sales and tag sales, rummage sales, the local thrift shop. It's always a lot of fun, and maybe one time or maybe a few times you might make a great discovery. Well, this next 45 was my first great discovery of my collecting career. If we can call it a career, we have to call it a career. I've been collecting since I was a teenager. What am I, 61 now? But I found this at a local garage sale. It was one street over. Like, I live up, my street is higher than the neighboring street is, like, you can look down and you can see the road. So they had like a whole, the street sale they had one Saturday a long time ago. I must have been in my early 30s or so when I went down to check this out. So I'm walking through and I come to this garage and I see these 45s. And I think I saw like Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers on top. And I said, well, this might be good. So I'm looking and there's the Schoolboys and the Solitaires. And I say, these are all great records here. And I keep on going and I come across this record on the Steamboat label. And I guess I started shaking. I started trembling and going, oh my God, what is this? Is this a rare record? The Steamboat label? So, there were these elderly people sitting there, and I held the records up and I said, excuse me, sir, how much are the 45s? And he said, well, they're 15 cents a piece. If you want to take the whole box, give me $5. Of course, I couldn't get the $5 out of my pocket quick enough, so I give the guy $5, and then I say to him, you wouldn't happen to have any more records, would you? And he goes, oh yeah, we got boxes down in the basement. So I said, can I come here Saturday after church? I'll come here and I can look at them. Maybe I can look at them. I can take them off your hands, not a big deal. He's like, yeah, come by tomorrow, around, 12 o'clock or so. So I get home and I look in the price guide at this record, this Swans on Steamboat, and I'm like, oh my God, because even back then in the 70s, it was worth a little bit. But I was so thrilled. I went back that Saturday, and unfortunately, they were all Columbia 45s, but pop. I found one record, I think the Chestnuts, Forever I Vow is the record I found, and I took a couple other ones that possibly might be maybe some Johnny Rays or whatever, and I took them. But anyway, that was a lot of fun for me. And this was the record. My first true rare find. And it's a pretty cool record. This group really is actually local to your host, Johnny G. They're from White Plains, New York. And their first release came out on the Rainbow label in late 1953. And then this is their next release, came out on bandleader Buddy Lucas's Steamboat label. It features Ray Roberts on lead. This one from 1956. I paid 15 cents for this 45. These are the Swans on Steamboat with Believe in Me.
Will you believe in me when I say that I love you? Will you believe in me and say you love me too? I do right from the start that our love was meant to be. Will you believe in me and say you love me too? If the stars up above should fail to shine, if the moon came out no more, darling, I wouldn't care as long as you're mine, for you are the one I adore. Will you believe in me when I say that I love you? Will you believe in me and say you love me too?
Yeah, those are the Swans on Steamboat. That's a cool 45 there. From 1956 on the Steamboat label, Believe in Me. That is the name of the tune, Believe in Me, that I paid a lot more for a lot of other records out of my collection. Paid as much. I'm not going to tell you. Some of my true friends know the maximum that I'll pay for a 45. Of course, that was when I was making money. I don't have time to go looking for records now, although it was a lot of fun back then. But I did enjoy it a lot when I was learning about the music, but now I'm dealing with big-time dealers and collectors and sales tax now, which I won't pay. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Here's another old request for listener Warren. Warren, I found this record too. I don't know if I emailed you on this one, but Warren requested a while back the Bonnie Sisters. They were all nurses at the Bellevue Hospital in New York City, and they performed on the Arthur Godfrey TV show, and guitarist Mickey Baker, he was with Rainbow Records at the time. He saw them and took notice and was instrumental with them getting a contract with Eddie Heller's Rainbow label. And they did have a national hit, their first record out of the box in 1956. They covered the Scarlets song Cry Baby. Was a big hit for them. But I think, Warren, you requested their second release, and I had it checked off in my Ken Klee book, but I didn't know where it was, so I was looking for other requests, and I found this. And again, my photographic memory. So this is by request for Warren from April 56. This is the follow-up to Cry Baby. These are the Bonnie Sisters on the Rainbow label. It's called Tracked the Cat.
Track that cat. Try and catch me. Try and catch me. Try and catch me. Try and catch me. Try and catch me if you can. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me if you try. Try and catch me. You can catch me. Try and catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me if you try. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Track that cat. Track that cat. Track that cat. Track that cat. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me. You can catch me if you track that cat. Meow.
As by request for Bopper Boy Warren, cool guitar for sure. Mickey Guitar Baker of Mickey and Sylvia fame. Bonnie Sisters there, April 1956. That's the follow-up to Cry Baby. That one there on Eddie Heller's Rainbow label. Tracked the Cat is the name of that one. Let's head back to Los Angeles, California with a request for Rich on Johnny Otis's Dig record label. Now, Johnny also wrote the song for this singer, Billy Mann. Now, this is the second of two that he did on the Dig label with an uncredited vocal group that are backing him up. This is going out to Richard Fox, September 1956. Billy Mann and group on Dig Records. It's called A Million Heartaches Ago.
Where's the love that I knew? that heart so true, that heart so true. Those lips I used to call my own, a million heartaches ago. Life just don't seem the same, don't seem the same, since I lost my old flame, lost my old flame. Those arms that used to cling to me, a million heartaches ago. I should forget you, but my dreams won't set me free. I pray your pride will let you come back home to me. Oh, let's make love anew. In our old rendezvous, old rendezvous, my darling, like we used to do. A million heartaches ago. That heart so true, that heart so true. Those lips I used to call my own, a million heartaches ago. A million heartaches
by request for Richard Fox, and Rockin' Ed likes that tune also. That's Billy Mann and an unmentioned group, September 1956. It's on Johnny Otis's Dig record label, A Million Heartaches Ago. I was trying to figure out possibly who the group could be, maybe the J.O.'s, as they were in the studio quite a bit backing up some of the artists on the label, I guess, because I couldn't find really anything. I couldn't find anything in that California book. Maybe I need to go through it a little bit more, that Steve Probst's California book. Anyway, Billy would also record with the Electras and the Delmars later on. Now, you for collectors out there, the first presses of this are on the Blue Dig label. You also can get it on the Pink label. I have like a VG copy on the Pink label, as I need my head examined as I do. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We spin my original vinyl 45s. We do it from 10 to midnight right here, and sometimes we do a lot of overtime, depending on who is around and what the time is. But let's continue here. Now, last week, Rich requested a group called the Titans on the Vita label. He requested the A-side of their debut 45. It was called So Hard to Laugh, So Easy to Cry. Now, let's give a listen to the flip side before I file it back down in the no humidity basement. And this side features Curtis McNair on lead, and he is the cousin to singer Barbara McNair. Yes, he is. This one from January 1957 now, the Titans on the Vita label. It's called Rhythm and Blues.
Snakes got a wiggle, so have you. Camel's got a hump with a lot of work to do. Venus had a shape that was out of this world. I got things to get all the girls that got the rhythm and blues. Yes, the rhythm and blues. Well, my feet's got the rhythm, my soul's got the rhythm and blues. Well, the cats in the jungle got a boom boom beat. The cats in the city got rhythm in their feet. Satchmo's got music in his soul. Brother Bean's got all the gold. I got a smile and you can see a mile. When she walks, everybody talks about the rhythm and blues. Yes, the rhythm and blues. Well, my feet's got the rhythm, my soul's got the rhythm and blues. Rhythm, rhythm and blues.
Johnny G getting caught here. Those are the Titans. The Titans there with the B-side of their first release on Larry Mead's Vita record label out of Pasadena, California, January 1957, with Rhythm and Blues. That's with the Jack Collier Orchestra, and the tune was written by their manager. He was Cecil Count Carter, managed the Titans. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, we are in the year 1957. This is a request for George Tompkins, this group called The Vibes, not to be confused with the California group on the Allied label, who, by the way, were really the Jayhawks. But this group is out of New York. Now, the song was written by Harold Draper, and the music publisher is Sylvia Music, and I don't know anything else about the group or anything, but Sylvia Music is Big Al Sears Publishing Company. So anyway, but going out to George, listening in Rockland County, New York. Let's give a listen to The Vibes from March of 57. The Vibes on ABC Paramount. It's called Darling.
Well, darling, oh yes, you know that I love you so, and that I'll never let you go. Tell me that you love me too. See, I'm down on bending knees. Well, darling, yes, well, I will love you till I die. Oh, yes, you know, I love you so well, darling. Well, I will love you till I die. Won't you please say you love me? Tell me that you love me too.
So you got Johnny G making faces, making faces in the webcam there. Is having a little bit of fun with the listeners there. But anyway, those are The Vibes, going out to George Tompkins, March 1957. A very cool record there, The Vibes on ABC Paramount. And their tune called Darling. As we continue here, we are in the year 1957. And last week I played a request for Nat Papagallo by George Kerr and the Serenaders on the Chock Full of Hits label. It was called I Wrote a Letter. Now, listener Darrell Letts of Flint, Michigan asked if I could play the flip side, as it was co-written by the lead singer George Kerr, and we're going to spin it for Darrell right now from late 1957. Give a listen to the Serenaders on the first label, Chock Full of Hits. You could also get this on the MGM label, but Chock Full of Hits is the first label. It's called I Wrote a Letter.
My sweet little darling, I asked my darling, won't
We got to send that one out to Brian Korn. He likes that tune. So does Johnny G. Those are the Serenaders. The Serenaders, late 1957, featured it on the Chock Full of Hits. Not chock full of nuts, although that coffee is still around, believe it or not. That's chock full of hits. The Serenaders with George Kerr on lead. I Wrote a Letter is the name of the tune. Yeah, for you collectors out there, you can get it on the MGM label. A little bit cheaper, much cheaper than the MGM record label. Boy, are the Ravens getting plastered? Getting plastered. They are. Anyway, let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasures. Now, listener Braden McCallow, he asked if I owned a copy of the Dubs on the Johnson label, and I do. I have it on a 45. I don't have it on a 78. I think he asked me if I had it on a 78. I don't know. I think there is a 78 of that, by the way. But I have the Dubs on Johnson on a 45, but the quality is not the greatest. I think my copy is polished. I hate polished records, and I know of two dealers that polish records. I will not mention who they are. I think one of them is still selling, but I don't know if he's still polishing. But, you see, polishing a record deceives you, the collector. So you don't want to buy polished records because they get them cheap. They might be a rare record, and what they'll do is they'll shine it up so it looks like it's a brand new 45. And there's actually two ways to polish a 45. You can use like a buffer machine, like you would kind of compound out your car or the paint on your car, scratches on your car. It wears down the vinyl, so when you play it on the record player, the sound quality is pretty crappy. But the other way, I think, is where they fill in the scratches with a kind of fluid. And I don't know if that guy's doing it anymore, but there are a few guys out there that polish, so you have to be careful. And I got hooked into it for many years, but you can tell because the records sound pretty crappy. And I bought the Dubs on Johnson from Ronnie I went to the store in New Jersey, and he sold that to me at a reasonable price, believe it or not. But it had a problematic scratch on it, I think, and it plays pretty bad. Maybe I'll play it for you. We'll see. But anyway, Braden asked me about it, and a couple weeks ago, maybe more than a couple weeks ago, on my Aunt Mary's tribute show, I played the A-side because she had the record. She had the record on the Gone label, Don't Ask Me to Be Lonely, on George Goldner's Gone labels. But let's give a spin to the flip side because, as you know, my aunt always played her B-sides, and she liked the B-side. And I have it on a West Coast Monarch press, which is not that shadow print. It's like block print, the California press. See, I know all this stuff. But anyway, it features Cleveland Still on lead from April 1957. These are the Dubs on Gone. I think Diane is doing a special, I think she mentioned, on the Dubs. But anyway, let's give a listen to the Dubs on Gone, their tune called Darling.
My darling, I love you so. I love you so. Don't ever leave me. Don't ever leave me. Don't ever go. Don't ever go. I want you. Oh, I want you. All the rest of my life. All the rest of my life. Will you be with me? Will you be with me in paradise? You make my life complete. Oh, darling, darling, please hold me tight. Please hold me tight. When you are with me, things are alright. Things are alright.
those are the Great Dubs. The Great Dubs with Cleveland Stills on lead. I think he was the last performer of the Dubs. I don't know if he's still singing, but he was when the Dubs were out. It was Cleveland Stills Dubs. But those are the Dubs from April 1957. That's the B-side on their first release on the Gone label. Originally came out on the Johnson label, a song entitled Darling. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, last week I featured sort of a twin spin on Reverend Alfred Kreitz Mason's Jr.'s Mason's label, and we are going to hear the flip sides of both of those releases. First up, let's give a listen to the Lovelarks. The side 2 I played last week, a killer ballad. It was called More and More, and side 1 is a nice jump, but it's unfortunately a poorly recorded record, unfortunately. So we're going to send this one out to Braden because he's looking for this one on a 78. It's from 1957, the Lovelarks on the Masons label. It's called Diddly Bum. That's 1957 there. They're called the Lovelarks. The Lovelarks on the Masons label. Diddly Bum is the name of the tune. And we're going to hear the other Masons 45 later. Actually, a couple records down, we will. And remember, I have two copies of that 45, by the way. Both of them have writing on the label. Some girl owned this one, and the other one was from some radio station. It's all got somebody stamped all over it. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And I have another request. This time it's going out to Nat. It's on Sid Nathan's Deluxe label this time for this group out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is their only release, and I really do like this song, Nat. This was a great request as we move into 1958 now. Now, the song was written by the bass of the group. He was the founding member, and his name is Albert Hurit, Hurit. He is the bass of the group. He wrote the song. It features the lead singer Charles Cossum on lead, by request for Nat. This one from August 1958. They're called the Swingin' Phillies. The Swingin' Phillies on Deluxe, and I don't know if Fred's going to yell at me. I can't just say it. The song is called Love, with dashes between each of the letters. Did I say it right, Fred? The song entitled Love.
Love spells love. I'm in love. That's what you tell me. I'm in love. That's what you tell me. I don't know. I guess you are telling me right. When I'm with you, dear, I get a chill inside. Yes, I want you, dear. I want you by my side. I'm in love. Yes, I'm really in love. I'm in love. I really love you, darling, with all of my heart and soul. Your love to me, dear, is the story untold. I really need you, darling, close to my heart. Say that we will never, ever part. I'm in love. That's what you tell me. I'm in love. That's what you tell me. I don't know. I guess you are telling me right. I'm in love. I'm in love. I love you. Yes, I do. I love you.
Oh, what a great record that is. Thanks for requesting that one, Nat. That's a good tune, the Swingin' Phillies. August 1958 on the Sid Nathan's deluxe record label, Love. Love is the name of that one. That is a cool tune. I heard that on one of the oldie, it might have been George Duop Tompkins that played that record the first time I heard it. What a great tune. Charles Cossum, he's the lead singer. You can get that off of those bio promos, which are really cool, on Deluxe, Federal, and King. They did them for a number of years, and then they stopped. But you get lots of information about the groups with very cool info. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. As last week I played a request for George Tompkins by the Cufflinks with a K. It was called Climb Love's Mountain. Came out on Gene Autry's Challenge label. It featured John Jennings on lead on that side. Let's flip it over, as the flip side features Johnny Woodson on lead, and he's re-recording his own song that he did a year earlier as a member of the Crescendos on the Spry label. First did it in 1957. He re-recorded it. I don't know if it's probably with this new group of Cufflinks. And let's give it a spin here, because it is not the same. It's not the same track as the 1957. This one is on Challenge. June 58, the Cufflinks featuring Johnny Woodson on Challenge. It's called All That's Good.
All that's good, all that's good,
rock and roll like a teenager should. I can't do the chicken, but I wish I could, 'cause all that's good. All that's good. Yeah, 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 all that's good. All that's good, pretty baby, all that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. You got Bobby socks, blue jeans too. Teach me how to do the chicken with you, 'cause all that's good. All that's good. Yeah, 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 all that's good. All that's good. All that's good, pretty baby, all that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. All that's good. All that's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All that's good. Yeah. That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Why don't you meet me on the drag strip a 4:15? Pull out the throttle and go back, 'cause all that's good. All that's good. Yeah, 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 all that's good. All that's good. All that's good, pretty baby, all that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. You got one milkshake, French fries too. Let's have a party, just me and you, 'cause all that's good. All that's good. Yeah, 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 all that's good. All that's good. All that's good, pretty baby, all that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. You got one milkshake. All that's good. You got blue jeans too. All that's good. You got French fried chicken. All that's good. Say I got you. That's good, that's good. You got all these things. All that's good. Don't you feel fine? All that's good. You got my wedding ring. All that's good. That makes you mine. That's good. I've learned to chicken too. I'm so glad I'm going steady with you, 'cause all that's good. All that's good. Yeah, 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 all that's good. All that's good. Ha, all that's good. Pretty baby, all that's good. That's good, that's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All that's good. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, yes, good. That's good, 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 good. All so good. Good, good, good. That's good, that's good, that's good. One more time. All that's good. Ha. Yes, yes, all so good. That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That's cool up-tempo. I like that up-tempo. The Cufflinks with a K. Cufflinks with a K, as I lost my place. June 1958, John Woodson on lead there. All That's Good came out on the Challenge record label, written by the lead singer, and that's the third release for the Cufflinks on Challenge Records. All That's Good is every Saturday night right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Hope you're digging on the cool 45s out of my collection. Let's continue here. Now, last week I played a request for Braden by the Thrashers. As we go back to the Masons label, a label out of Brooklyn, New York, it was called Genie. Now, Braden also requested I play the flip, as this side was also written by the lead of the group. His name is Bernard Felton. So we send this out to Braden. When he gets back from the movie, Braden, let me know the movie that you saw. I'm interested to see what that is. But anyway, this is going out to Braden from 1958, The Thrashers. It's the flip side of Genie on the Masons label. It's called Forever My Love.
Sometimes it seems like everything goes wrong, but then again, life is just a happy song. But no matter what our fate might be, I'll always love you tenderly, forever.
As by request for Braden. Evan, you don't like that song. Maybe you don't like the sound quality of it, but that's good harmony. I say it is. Those are the Thrashers, 1958, the flip side of Genie on the Masons label. Forever My Love is the name of that one. As we continue here, we are in the year 1958. We count down the music chronologically here on the 50s and early 60s edition. Now, last week I played a request for The Colonel by the Versatiles on the Atlantic label. The group is out of Mount Vernon, New York, not too far from where Johnny G lives, and the song was called Crying. I think it was Richard Fox that asked if I would flip the 45 over, as I dig this side too. Great two-sided 45. Features Ben Sands on lead. This is going out to Rich from October 1958. They are called the Versatiles. It's on the Atlantic label. It's called Passing By.
Shoo, shoo, doo, shoo, wah, wah, shoo, shoo, doo, shoo, wah, wah, shoo, shoo, doo, shoo, wah, wah, shoo, shoo, wah, wah, when I walk by, oh my, shoo, passing by, shoo, wah, wah, caught the fool of your when you get your light, oh my, passing by. I'm a reeling, rocking, rolling all night long. I'm a shaking, breaking. Like a love I never had. Caught the foul of your kiss when you get me outside. Oh my, passing by. Just passing by. I'm really rocking, rolling all night long. I'm shaking, breaking. Like a love I never had. I never had. Was you passing by? When I got your light, oh my, you passing by.
That's going out to Rich Fox. That's a cool tune. Those are the Versatiles. The Versatiles from 1958, and I had the October 1958 on the Atlantic label. Song entitled Passing By. Ben Sands on lead for that one. My first copy of this on the stock. This is a promo. The label's got a little bit of a mess up on it for water damage, but my first copy came out. I forget you used to have to bid on these records out in California, and you'd had to send the money beforehand, and then he would mail the records back. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. He would send out a booklet. Does anybody remember that? Back in the late 70s, you would mail. He would give you all these individual auctions. I think what you had to do is you had to send your records out to him, and he would put it in a catalog, and people would submit bids, and he would tabulate them all, and he would take the money, and he would take a percentage, and he would pay you back. But evidently, I think toward the end, he kept all these records, and people were like, where's my records, whatever. I forget what happened. I'm trying to remember who did it. I'm sure somebody out there is going to remember. Send Johnny G an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. I did it a couple times, and one of the records I won was this Versatiles, but it was on the Atlantic stock copy, and it plays crappy. That one plays better. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and back to Sid Nathan's deluxe label, and this is a request for George Tompkins. Now, this singer goes by the name of Johnny Darling, but many, including George, say that this guy is really Calvin Khaki Roulette. Now, he was the lead singer for the Honey Boys on the Modern label. They were out of Baltimore, Maryland. Now, he's being backed up on this record with an uncredited group, and someone on YouTube said that the Hurricanes, but I disagree. I don't think the Hurricanes are backing him up on this because they broke up by this release, July 1958. Maybe previous members that sang with the group possibly, but it just doesn't matter because it's a great song. It's going out to George from July 58, Johnny Darling on Deluxe. It's called I Don't Want to Wind Up in Love.
Won't you please take your arms from around me? Won't you please take your lips away? Darn that moon, darn that tune, sung by angels above. I just don't want to wind up in love. Won't you let me get myself together? 'Cause your kiss has me so afraid, and the gleam in your eyes tells me what you're thinking of, and I don't want to wind up in love. 'Cause I've seen lovers come and go, and they always wind up the same. Broken hearted, that's why I want no part of the game. Stay away, I'm afraid of your magic. It does nothing but give me a shock. Pity me, can't you see my poor heart's in misery? 'Cause I don't want to wind up in love. I don't want to wind up in love.
That's going out to George Tompkins there. Yes, that's a nice tune there by Johnny Darling, a.k.a. Calvin Rolette. Calvin Rolette. Yes, Rich, also the lead on the Swallows, I think on the Federal label, and that one there from July 1958 on Deluxe Records, I Don't Want to Wind Up in Love. Yes, Sam Hill, it was that... Wait, I saw it there. What was it? Art Turco. Art Turco was the one that ran those auctions from Record Exchanger. They were. But anyway, that's the way they used to do it back then. Now with all social media and whatnot, you can bid on records now on eBay and a bunch of Discogs and a whole bunch of places now. Anyway, but you can even go on Facebook. They're even selling 45s. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And the prices are better, by the way. Prices are better now. Some of these records I paid a lot of money for, they have gone down considerably in price, but not the Northern Soul stuff. That stuff is selling. Yes, it is. Let's continue here. Now, last week I played a request for Evan Blatt by this Youngstown, Ohio group. They were known as the Monterey. And Evan requested the intended A-side of their release on the Tammy label. It was called 5 Minutes to Love You. Now, the B-side's a cool up-tempo that I dig on. This one from February 59, the Monterey on the Tammy label. It's called My Guardian Angel.
My guardian angel, come down from up above to find someone for me to love. My guardian angel, I'll be thankful to you. So
thankful to you.
My guardian angel, I really need romance if I am not true. Then give me one more chance, my guardian angel. I'll be thankful to you. My other loves have left me. Oh, that's why I'm so blue. But my guardian angel, she knows just what to do. My guardian angel, when she hears my sighs come down from the skies, my guardian angel, I'll be thankful to you.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That one there, February 1959. They're called the Monterey's. Monterey's My Guardian Angel came out on the Tammy label. Now, I need the true first press of that. It's supposed to say Tammy Record Company, I think, on it in smaller print. And I can't find a copy of that. I don't know why it's always eluded me. Got rare records than that, but I just never got a copy of that, unfortunately. But I like that record. I remember buying that one in Montvale, New Jersey. I forget the hotel. It was right in Montvale. It was the first, actually, it wasn't the first record show I went to. I went to a couple in Connecticut. They used to have them on Friday nights back in the early 1980s. And I think a White Plains Hotel they used to have. And I met a whole bunch of new dealers, and they wanted my name. They sent me lists. A couple guys from Boston I would buy from, but it's changed now. I haven't been to I really want to go. I want to go and meet a lot of you guys that show up at the Allentown, PA show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to have to get Ramtown Mike or someone to fill in for me, and I'll go at least that Saturday. I'll take some days off from work, and I'll head up to Allentown. I would like to meet many of you guys that tune into the show. It'll be a lot of fun. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Up next, a request for the Colonel, and he requested the Chessmen on the Mirasonic label. Now, this group had a previous release on the Safari label. You may know the song. It's a cool tune. It's called The Keeper of My Heart. In 1958, it was actually a misspelling. It was called The Chess Man. It was supposed to be men, but they messed that up. But this one came out in January of 59, and the lead singer on this is Bobby Fuentes. Bobby Fuentes, and it's by request for the Colonel. January 59, The Chessmen on Mirasonic. It's called I Live for You.
I live for you all the whole day through, with each setting sun and a new day that's begun. I live for you just to have you love me is the thing that's my goal. Maybe you won't believe me, but don't go away. If you do, it would grieve me. If you say you leave me, I live for you. As all can plainly see, all I want, dear, is you live for me. All I want, dear, is you live for me. I live for
As going out to the Colonel, those are the Chessmen. The Chessmen from January 1959. It's on the Mirasonic record label. I Live For You is the name of that one. Bobby Fuentes, he's on lead. He later on would be the lead singer of the Preludes 5 on the PIC label. You know the tune, Don't You Know Love and Starlight. He was the lead on that also. And also The Keeper of My Love. He was also the lead on that. And that's a 45 I got out of the collection of Seymour Simon. I remember he told me when he was selling to me privately, he was calling me up on the phone and selling me records. He put an ad in Discoveries or Goldmine, I forget, and he said, Johnny, he says, I understand you buy rare records. Of course, there were a couple. He said, you can't have these. I have to talk to Val Shively for these. I said, that's okay. I says, I have a limit on certain records, but he was selling me good records like that he would pick up on his travels. And he said to me, one day I would like you to play these records of mine on the R&B Review. Of course, I did host that show with Dan. I was a guest collector on that show at the time. Danny Romanello was in charge of the show, and I really thought that he potentially would ask me to play my records, because he was asking me for requests that people were sending in that he didn't have the records. I had the records, but it just never turned out. So if Seymour Simon wants to hear his records, he's going to have to tune in to the Vinyltreasure Show. If somebody sees him, tell him I said hello. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now, we continue with the requests as we stay in 1959. This was a last-minute edition because Evan Blatt sent me his request this afternoon. It was about 1:30. I had to hurry up and rush and prepare for the show. So Evan, you cannot send me the requests this late. I might be able to swing it on Friday nights. You can send it to me. I can look for them, because I don't have MP3s that Hi-Fi Tim drags to his mixer to play. I can't do that. I play the real records. So if you do get me the requests in time, and if I have the records, I will most definitely play them. But I was able to get this one in because I had it here in a 2-play box, because I knew I had it up here because I saw when I was looking for other things. But Evan requested this rare 45. I'm surprised you even know about this record, Evan, on the Ace label. The Ace label out of New York, not the Johnny Vincent Ace label out of Mississippi. This group is called the Sharp Tones, not to be confused with the Sharp Tones that recorded on the Post label. They were out of California. This group probably out of New York. Now, Evan requested the intended B-side. We go back to March of 1959. The Sharp Tones on Ace. It's called I'll Always Remember.
School's almost over. Soon you'll be free. Gee, how happy I will be, 'cause the memory still lingers of the fun we had last June through September, 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 September. Those were the best days of all. That's when we had ourselves a ball. That's why I shall always remember June through September. We'll picnic, we'll swim and we'll dance. We'll have a happy romance together, my darling. This summer we'll spend like always, darling. The summer it must end, and then school will open, then you'll be gone. But I'll still have memories to linger on. Oh yes, I shall always remember June through September.
That's a rare 45 going out to Evan Blatt. Those are the Sharp Tones on the New York Ace label, Daryl. Not the Johnny Vincent label out of Mississippi, the Supremes, a great record. I had that to play. Somebody played that. Mike W. played that record, I think, on his last show. But anyway, those are the Sharp Tones going out to Evan. March 1959 on the Ace label. I'll Always Remember is the name of that one. A very cool tune. And we continue now with the flip sides. I played a request for Nat last week by the Arcades. Came out on Hiram Johnson's Johnson label. The song was called My Love, which is the side I do prefer, by the way. Lead singer Theodore Marsh, he was on lead there. Now, he also co-wrote the flip side. Now, Daryl Letts asked if I would play the flip. I have to admit, Daryl, I'm not crazy about this record. I mean, it's just okay for me, and I know maybe other people do like this, so we're going to give it a whirl here from December 1959. Going out to Daryl, the Arcades on the Johnson label. It's called Fine Little Girl.
Whoa, bom, bom, bedu, be, bom, bom, bedu, be, bo, 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 bo. My little girl, you know I love you so. My little girl, I'll never let you go. My little girl, you say that you'll be mine. My little girl, I'll love you all the time. My little girl, my little when I first saw you there.
Actually, that's a good sax break in that record. That's a lot better than a lot of other novelty type tunes like Rubber Biscuit, for instance. But that's a pretty cool tune, I have to say. That's why I did play it, because I did, I remember hearing that a lot on oldie radio. But that's going out to Daryl Letts. Those are the Arcades, December 1959, Fine Little Girl on the Johnson record label. Now, that was, the first came out in December of 59. Then Johnson re-released it in May of 1962. It's Johnson 119. So you can have that as Johnson 320 or Johnson 119. Johnny G here, continuing here. And I knew I would eventually find this request for Richard Fox. It was misfiled. It was in my records to be clean box of all places, as Rich wanted to hear this group from Newark, New Jersey, initially recording on the Savoy label. They were called the Gaylords in 1953. It comes out on a 78 only, and they were forced to change their name because of the Gaylords recording on Mercury, believe it or not. But then they became the Imperials, and they have another 78 on the Savoy label, which I do have. I got to do a 78 show for Braden. I said I would. And then they changed their name one more time to the Carnations. And you may know their 1955 release on Savoy. It was called The Angels Sent You to Me. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Louis Van Dyke, and he also wrote this song that Rich requested from September of 1959. Let's give a listen to the Carnations. It's on the Enrica label. And this is by request going out to Richard. Found the Carnations with Louis Van Dyke on lead. It's called Love Open Up My Heart. That tune, Rich. That's a good one. Thanks for requesting that. The Carnations, September 1959. It's on the Enrica label. It's called Love Open Up My Heart. And Louis Van Dyke, he wrote the tune. He's also on lead. Great tune there. Thanks for that one. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. Now, on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for George by the Chancellors, a group out of Detroit, Michigan, on the Storm label. The song was called My Thoughts to You. So let's give a spin to the flip side before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. This one from May of 59. Storm Records. This is a styrene press. The Chancellors with I Really, Really Do.
Oh, she's my baby, she's my honey, she's my sugar, she's my doll. I love her, oh yes, I really, really do. Oh yes, she's fine and she's kind, she'll be mine all the time, 'cause I love her, oh yes, I really, really do. When we met, I smiled and said, how do you do? She dropped her head and lovely said, fine, how are you? Oh, she's my baby, she's my honey, she's my sugar, she's my doll. I love her, oh yes, I really, really do. When we met, I smiled and said, how do you do? She dropped her head and lovely said, fine, how are you? Oh, she's my baby, she's my honey, she's my sugar, she's my doll. I love her, oh yes, I really, really do. Really, really do. Really, really do. Really, really do.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one going back down in the No Humidity basement there. The Chancellors. May 1959, I Really, Really Do is the name of that one on the Storm record label out of Detroit, Michigan. We continue now. This next song is a B-side of a big hit, a monster hit by a group from Brooklyn, New York. You know the group. They're called the Impalas, and their debut single on the Cub label was their biggest hit. It was called Sorry I Ran All the Way Home, but we're going to give a listen to the flip side of that 45. Actually, it is a request by George, sending it out to Matey Campboy. I don't know where Matey's been. Maybe she's on vacation. She's been gone since the holidays, I think, so I'm sure she'll be back sooner or later. But George wanted me to send this one out to listener Matey. This one features Joe Speedo Frazier on lead. From January 1959, you flip over Sorry I Ran All the Way Home on Cub by the Impalas. You get this tune. It's called Fool, Fool, Fool.
Call me a fool, but they just don't know what what must be when your love's a one-way affair. I was a fool, I know.
That's going out to Matey Camp Boy from George. That's a great B-side there by the Impalas. January 1959, Fool, Fool, Fool on the Cub record label. Joe Speedo Frazier on lead. That's a flip side to Yes, Brian, I Ran All the Way Home, the true first press. But that one there, the A-side, was a big number 2 on Billboard and Cashbox. And I Ran All the Way Home is the side that is the record that I've played the B-side off of. I will show that to you folks in the YouTube chat room. And that's their first of 4 on the Cub label for the Impalas. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1960 with a song I want to send out to George Tompkins as we head to California for the Marquis. Now, this West Coast group did 3 on the Warner Brothers label and 2 for the Joanne label. And this was their first on Joanne, written by the lead singer. His name is Terry Brown. This is going out to George from October 1960. The Marquis on Joanne. It's called Stay With Me.
There is a man I love to hear his sounds like music my ear. My darling, when you say stay with me, it I'm gonna hear your name, sweeter than a baby's cry. Come, stay with me. Feeling I get, well now it's alright. Your charms are all. You better believe me, girl, and make things right. No one can make me glow like you. I feel like your name. The tears I shed be tears of joy. Because you stay with me. Stay with me.
That's going out to George Tompkins there. Nice tune by the Marquis Marquise, October 1960. It's on the Joanne record label. Terry Brown, he wrote the tune. He is on lead. Stay With Me is the name of the tune. That's the intended B-side. The A-side is a pretty nice tune also. That's The Way I Feel is the name of that one. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Finally found this request for Bopper Boy Warren. Now, this singer goes by the name of Spence Wildee, Wildee, and I think he eventually would become an actor. I think in 1969, I got to ask North Dakota Bob. Bob, can you check it out? I wasn't really sure, but I think it's the same guy. In 69, he was on the Bill Cosby Show. He also was on Policewoman, and he was on some show, Policewoman in 74, and this other show in 74 called The Klansman. Does anybody remember that show? I don't remember it. But in 1960 or 61, he had this 45 on the Spin Hal label, and he probably co-owned this label. His name is Spence Wildee with the producer of this song. His name is Hal Smallowwood. He produced the 45. So this guy's name is Spence Wildee, and he wrote the song. This is going out to Warren. He requested it from 60 or 61. It's on Spen Hall. It's called Good Time.
Oh, when you're young, you've got to have a good time. You've got to have a good time. Oh yeah, I said yeah. Let's have a party. Invite everybody. Let's have a ball. I said yeah. Let's jump and shout. Turn everything around.
As by request, going out to Bopper Boy Warren, Spence Wildee's his name on the Spen Hal label, 1960 or 61, somewhere around that time period. Good Time is the name of that. We have a good time every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here. We are in overtime now. We are in Vinyl Treasure overtimes. Let's continue here as we got a good crowd. And next, a request for Nat Papagallo. We go back to Los Angeles, California, to Lummy Fowler's Lumtone label for this group called the Upfronts. They formed back in 1960, and the members were Bobby Ralph. He was first tenor. Theotis Reed, the second tenor. This was the first group. They recorded the first two records. Theotis Reed, the second tenor. Jimmy Locke was tenor. Leroy Sanders, the baritone, and Barry White. Yes, Barry White of disco fame. He was not disco then. He was the bass. And the lead singer goes by the name of David Johnson. And that requested their debut single on Lumtone, which is from June of 1960. Let's give a listen to the Upfronts. It's on Lumtone Records. It's called It Took Time.
darling, it took you.
It took you. It took you. It took you.
It took
Oh, yes, it did.
bring me happiness until I found that gold you can't caress. Now I know why I never blew, darling. It took you.
Ball, ball, ball.
You must have heard my mind. Oh, yes, somehow you heard my plea. For you took your love and your heart and gave them all to me. And years of time to make you smile. Come out at night and shine, but to make all my dreams come true, darling, it took you.
It took you. It took you.
Darling,
It took you.
it took you.
It took you. It took you.
Darling,
It took you.
it took you.
It took you. It took you.
Darling.
Yes, those are the Uptones. The Uptones there by request for Nat Papagallo. That one there from, I lost my place, June 1960. It Took Time on the Lumtone record label. He has David Johnson on lead. And Nat did mention to me that it's not the group that became Little Caesar and the Romans, because he left this group after the second single to form Little Caesar and the Romans. But this group of upfronts, I think they've changed multiple times through the years. And for you collectors out there, the true first press of this is on the Pink Styrene label. That is the first true press. And again, there's some cool records by the upfronts on the Lumtone label as we continue here on Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Now we stay in California with a request for the Colonel. This is another ultra rare 45 for those of you that collect this this music. You can get the bootleg of this. I forget, somebody in Las Vegas put this bootleg out, but you can get it. I think it's available on eBay. But the original is very hard. It's Tory Limited, the Tory Limited label out of Hollywood, California. And it's by Charles Andrea and the High Tones. And the Colonel requested this one, produced by Buddy Harper. Going out to the Colonel. Both sides are great of this 45. April 1960, Charles Andrea and the High Tones on Tory Limited. This side's called Open Up Your Heart.
I love you eternally, stronger each day in every way.
You're mine, and you'll always be my Please give it all time. Keep on holding me tight. This is our first romance. I'm yours. You're the girl for me. Love me for eternity. Please, dear, open up your heart. Open up your heart. Open up your heart.
That's going out to the Colonel. The Colonel, that's a cool tune. Great. Both sides of that record are great. Charles Andrea and the High Tones, April 1960. It's on Tory Limited. It's called Open Up Your Heart. And again, I thought I would never get this record, but it showed up one afternoon. I can't mention his name, he showed up here with a bunch of expensive 45s, and I ended up taking them all. And we drove to the bank, I had to withdraw the money and had to pay him. I did, but I got a lot of great records from that person. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now, last week I played a request, there was a song requested by two of you listeners. It was Nat and Evan requested this song out of Philadelphia, PA by the Intruders. I played the intended B-side you guys requested. It was the ballad side. It was called Come Home Soon. But let's give a listen to the flip side before it goes back down in the no humidity basement. This is the intended A-side. It features Sam Little Sonny Brown on lead, and it's a cover song. It was first done by the Plurals on the Wagner label in 1958, but this one's from December 61. Give a listen to the Intruders on Gowan. It's called I'm Sold, parentheses, on You.
Slip on your arms, dear, oh what a thrill. No one felt like this since Jack felt for you. I'm so, baby, so on you. I sampled your arms, dear, oh what a thrill. No one felt like this since Jack felt for you. I'm so, baby, so
way before Cowboys to Girls, 6 years prior to Cowboys to Girls. Those are the Intruders. December 1961, that's the intended A-side. A song entitled I'm Sold, parentheses, on You was a cover of the Plurals tune from 1959. That one there on the Gowan label. With their next release on Gowan, they were known as the Four Intruders, and I think they went back to the Intruders. Johnny G's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and we continue here. Got more requests. Now, last week I played a song for Bopper Boy Warren by the Marathons on the first press, the Sabrina label. It was called Don't Know Why. It was released in July of 1960. Now, listener George Tompkins wants me to play another version for Warren, and ask him what he thinks about it. This song was re-recorded by the group, but they were known as the Misfits. They were known as the Misfits at this re-recording, and it came out on the Aries label out of Los Angeles. So going out to Warren via George, this one from 1961, the Misfits on Aries with their resung version of I Don't Know. It's like a reworking of their tune. It's not really the same song, but almost the same kind of sound to it there. But those are the Misfits, 1961, on the Aries label out of Hollywood, California, a song entitled I Don't Know. Let's continue here. Got one last request for a Bopper Boy Warren, and I knew I had this record. Again, I was lucky to find this, looking for other requests. It was in the box. It was misfiled. Actually, like Rich's request was, it was misfiled, but I found this one, this group from Asbury Park, New Jersey. They had 3 releases on the Vibro label. This is their third, written by the lead singer. His name is Henry Stoney Jackson, who was previously a member of Paul Himmelstein's Heartbreakers on the Vic label. This one's from August 1961. Warren, you requested this a while back on the Vibro label. It's Stoney Jackson and the V8s. It's called Let's Take a Chance, parentheses, and See.
Let's take a chance and a see. Let's take a chance. Let's take first embrace, you may find that your heart's warm like a mine. It may be, let's take a chance and a see. Let's take a chance. After the first kiss, you may know that you love me, or love me so. It may be, let's take a chance and I see. One time is all we need to make love a success. One time is all we need to find happiness. Let's take the first step together. Maybe you'll want me near you forever. It may be, let's take a chance and see.
By request, going out to Warren, August 1961. Those are the V8s, Stoney Jackson and the V8s. They're out of Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's on the Vibro label. Let's take a chance, parentheses, and see. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. And on last week's show, I played a request for George Tompkins, a female group from North Philadelphia. They were known as the Baby Dolls. Played the intended B-side, a nice ballad called Thanks, Mr. DJ. And a wonderful ballad they did. Now, the A-side is an up-tempo, and it features Marion Warren on lead. This one on Larry Kerin's Mask label from 61. Give a listen to the Baby Dolls. This is the A-side on Mask. It's called What a Wonderful Love.
Your wonderful love can turn the darkness to day. It can make the troubles go away. What a wonderful love. Your wonderful love can turn the moon to gold. It can make the sun turn cold. What a wonderful love.
Girl group sounds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Baby Dolls, 1961. On the Mask label out of Philadelphia, a song entitled What a Wonderful Love. Got to say hi to my friend Al Bernard, tuned in to the Moondog Matinee today. You know, it was Al Bernard gave me my first chance of broadcasting back in 1999. I went up to Wesleyan College to do the Moondog Matinee show. I was really nervous. We were doing 3 record sets. I don't like to do 3 record sets. I know a lot of the stations, they do. I just don't like it. I like to play each record, and I like to talk about it. I just think it's better that way for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, got to say hi to Al. It's been a while. I want to go visit him too, see how he's doing. But Al, nice talking to you today on the Moondog Matinee. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and another artist I played last week was Johnny Flamingo. I played the first press of this on the Caddy label it was a cover of the Crickets song on MGM, You're Mine. Now, Johnny was previously a member of the Dots that also recorded on Dick Huggy Boy Hug's Caddy label. Now, the flip side is another cover of a 1953 tune done by the Vocaliers on Red Robin Records. Well, let's give this one a spin from December of 61, Johnny Flamingo on Caddy with his rendition of the tune, Is It a Dream?
Is it a dream? All my long lost dream. Oh, is she real? Oh, is she real? Is it a love? This is like a game. Is some love that way? Yes, it seems. Is it a dream? Lost dream, your love, will it be real? So real to me when I awake, you're gone, gone, gone from me, and you left me with a dream. Oh, oh yes, it's a dream. Oh, couldn't it be real? Still it seems like a dream. Baby, it's a dream.
Cover tunes here in the Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Johnny Flamingo's his name. Johnny Flamingo, he was previously a member of the Dots. The Dots on the Caddy label, that is a solo effort, his 5th release on the Caddy label. Is It a Dream from December 1961. We continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime with more flip sides, as I featured a group last week called the True Tones. They were from Washington, D.C. Their release on the Felsted label, their version of Singing Waters, as requested by Nat, but I like the flip side too, which is an original composition written by the lead singer. His name is Ronald Henderson. This one from June of 61. It's on Felsted Records. These are the True Tones. It's called Blushing Bride.
Nights were wild and so was she. There is one place that
she's to be my blessing bride. Hear her calling me from way, way, way up on a hill. Oh, darling, come soon. Yes, come soon. I'm to be her blessing groom. Can you hear her calling me from here and afar? I'll always love her for 1,000 years, and that river that you see is my tear. We understand just what love means, and we intend to love eternally. Oh, darling, come soon. Yes, come soon. I'm to be her blessing groom.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the True Tones, June 61. I like that side, too. It's a nice tune there. Blushing Bride is the name of that one. Ronald Henderson on lead on the Felsted record label. Now, speaking of Singing Waters, I played last week by the True Tones. How about we hear the original version of that song as done by the Cashmeres? They were from Bridgeport, Connecticut. They're not the same group that recorded for the Mercury label. This Cashmeres group was founded by Windsor King, who previously was a member of the Five Royales on the King label. So this one from March of 61. It's on Laurie Records. These are the Cashmeres. This is the original version of Singing Waters.
There's a valley where the lilacs bloom, and a waterfall that has an enchanting love call. Singing waters coming down a mountainside that glisten, bringing melodies of love to anyone who cares to listen. Singing waters sang a song of love for me the very day you came my way. That's where I'd like to live with you my whole life long, so our romance can be one beautiful sweet love song. Singing waters till the babbling brook. I want the whole world to know I love you so. I love you so. That's where I wanna be, with you my whole day long, so our romance can be one beautiful sweet love song. Singing waters till babbling brook, that I want the world to know I love you so. Oh, don't you know that I love you so.
That's the original version of Singing Waters as done by the Cashmeres, March 1961, the second of three on the Laurie label. Windsor King on lead there, and Laurie Records. And prior to Laurie, recording for Laurie, they had 2 singles on the Lake label. I think their mediocre hit was Satisfied, I think, here on the East Coast. 3 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. And back to the flip sides, back to Philadelphia for a group called the Cosmos. Richard Fox requested the A-side, a very cool tune. It was called I Feel You're Torturing My Heart. Came out on the Big L record label, and I have no other info about this group, but I think they are of a Spanish or Latino descent. This group, we move into 1962 with a B-side. Let's give it a spin. The Cosmos on the Big L. It's 1962. It's called Angel, Angel.
Angel, angel, ooh, angel, angel, ooh. Why was I such a fool?
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Cosmos. The Cosmos from 1962. It's on the Big L record label out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Angel, Angel is the name of that one. That is their only release. 2 more 45s to go here. We fill a request, a final request for tonight, for Braden McCullough. Braden McCullough of Minnesota, as we head to Brooklyn, New York. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can take a look at it on the green label. An interracial Hispanic group came out on the Swami label. It appears to be their only release. This one from June of 1962. It features Pepe Rosario on lead. By request for Braden, give a listen to Pepe and the Astros. On the Swami label, it's called Judy, My Love.
Hey,
señorita, it's Pepe. I did nothing wrong to you. You know I love you, señorita. Por favor, no se haga ir conmigo. Yo no le he hecho nada malo a usted. Okay, Judy? Okay? Judy, my love, you said you'll be mine until the end of time. Please say you'll be mine. Judy, mi amor, me dijiste una mentira cuando yo te quería. Ay, yo te quiero a ti. Ay, ay, ay. She is mine. line. Hey, señorita, now that you are mine, yo te quiero, mi amor, y quiero que seas mía. Judy, my love, you said you'd be mine until the end of time. You say you'll be mine. Oh, hey, señorita, it's baby. Don't be mad at baby, I didn't done wrong. Oh, 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 oh,
Spanish doo-wop as we close down the Vinyltreasure Show. That's a cool record. I first heard that on the Bobby O and Jive and Joe show. If you remember that show way back in the mid-1970s. Used to tune into all those WHBI shows late night. They would be on for only a half hour. How many records can you play in a half hour? Like me babbling on. Can't play many. But that's going out to Braden. That is Pepe and the Astros. Pepe and the Astros from June 1962 on the Swami label, and Pepe Rosario on lead. Judy, my love, it's Judy mi amor, is in parentheses anyway. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyltreasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can send me your requests. Takes me a while to find them sometimes, but I eventually do. You can also go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. You can stream or download my shows there, or you can go to YouTube under Johnny G's Vinyl Treasures. Got a bunch of video clips of my 45s. You can check them out. It's always cool to do that. And that's going to do it for tonight. I had a blast spinning my 45s for you tonight. We're going to close the show tonight in Philadelphia, and on last week's Vinyltreasure Show, I played a request for George Tompkins by Sharon Ivy, as we dedicated it in memory of the late Salmon Drone. The song was called I Need You, which was the intended A-side, and George also requested the B-side of the record, so we're going to give it a spin here. We're going to close the show with it tonight. So by request for George, there's a vocal group backing him up on this. I think it's the Dream Lovers. They are backing up Sharon Ivy on this one. March 1962, the closer on the Heritage label by Sharon Ivy. It's called Believe Me. That's going out to George. So believe me, I have a lot of fun every Saturday doing the show. Hope you're digging on the tunes, though, out of my collection. So I guess I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you, Charlene, for all your help again. And tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven. His Relics and Rarities show begins at 9 o'clock, 9 to midnight, right here on Top Shelf Oldies. I'll be back next Saturday starting at 10 p.m. for more 50s and early 60s. I'll be doing a special fill-in show on a Wednesday night. I think it's at 9 o'clock. You got to check the calendar on Top Shelf Oldies. I think it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to be doing a top 50 or might be 60 countdown of and there's going to be records I normally don't play, but it's an R&B station, so it's going to be very interesting on the records that charted there. I have a lot of them. I know where they are. Some are going to be problematic, but I will find them. I got a couple weeks to do it. But anyway, thanks so much, folks, for sticking around. I'll be back next Saturday. I want everybody to have a safe and happy week. I'll see you here next Saturday on the Vinyltreasure Show. So everybody, just want to say, everybody, so long.
Believe me when I tell you so. I won't ever let you I tell you so, I won't ever let you go, 'cause I love you so.
Okay, folks, that's going to do it. That's a good tune. I like both sides of this. George Tompkins, thank you for requesting that. A great record. I haven't played it, and I had it for a while. It's got a terrible... this is a polished record, by the way, that sounds okay. But Sharon Ivy, I think when people get this record, it's always beat. But anyway, that's it. So thank you all for sticking around. Brian, you're not going to be shoveling over at the Green Bay game tomorrow? They said it's supposed to snow or something, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for sticking around. Oh, I didn't show Peppy. I didn't show the Judy My Love. Here it is on the Swami record label. There you go. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for sticking around. I'll see you here next Saturday, and have a safe and happy week again, as I mentioned. And it's a lot of fun for me every Saturday right here on Top Shelf Oldies. So everybody, bye-bye. Have a good night. Bye-bye.